Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? It's your boy Devo, some motivational, back with another date. Sorry, back with another Monday's day trading watch list. Okay, and so today, have a lot of stuff for you guys. We have a big week coming up, a very big week coming up actually, and a week that we could have a big pump, and then we could start to see the rollover, or we can just continue pumping. Okay. And so, real quick, let me make sure I'm recording. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go over my Friday. We didn't have a trade Friday, but I'm gonna go over what happened Friday in the markets, and then, man, why is this popping up? Okay, sorry. And then I'm gonna go over the data we have coming into this week, which we do have a lot of big data coming into this week. Earnings, we don't have much earnings, so I mean I'll show you what we have coming up, but not really much earnings. And then some a lot of news that we have coming into Monday. So Monday could be a big day. And then we have a good setup going into Monday, and then all about tariffs. And so okay, let's get straight into it. Okay, so on Friday, what did we see? So Friday, I didn't have a trade. Why didn't I have a trade? Well, so recently I've been wanting to be more patient, okay? More patient in wanting to see my setup. You know what I'm saying? Like my setup. Like if it doesn't touch my fair value gap that I want it to touch, stay away from it. You know, why am I more into that right now? Or like just thinking about that, like I need my setup. If it doesn't touch my fair value gap, like the fair value gap I want, I'm not taking it. Why am I like choosing just to do that? Because whenever you see the area that you know price should retreat to and will touch, like a big fair value gap, and whenever you see a reaction off another fair value gap, and you're like, oh, okay, it's already breaking, let me just hop in on this fair value gap. More often, not, but a lot of times you will see that price will end up retracing, stomping you out, and then touching the exact place you want it to. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it's just like, all right, I want my, I always wait for my setup, of course, but like, no, I want this fair value gap touch. If it doesn't touch it, I'm gonna leave it be, and I'll see what price does. If it doesn't give me the setup, I'm not gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking more for these high quality setups instead of just trying to rush a trade. Okay. Don't mind my hair. I know it's put up. It's a little crazy right now. It's Sunday. We gotta wash up and get the hair back right. Okay. But so what did I see on Friday? So on Friday we opened up around here at this 566 level, right? And what did I say Thursday coming in? What did I say Thursday that I was looking for on Friday and that I could see coming? Well, you remember after we had the press conference with Trump and this huge pump. What did I say? I said tomorrow, which Thursday I was saying tomorrow. So on that Friday, last week's Friday, I was saying I could see a down move to get the pullback, right? I was saying we could have a pullback because we had such a big run up. That's exactly what we got, okay? So look, this is why it's setting us up for Monday, which is a really good opportunity, okay? So before I go into that trade, why is it setting us up Monday? Because you see this pullback that we had on Friday. Well, what did it pull back to? It actually pulled back into this order block right here. It actually pulled back into this order block right here, right? And we got a little reaction, right? We didn't just pump up out the wazoo, right? Because I mean that was just late into the day. Well, that was actually 9:40, so not late into the day. But I mean, we could have just pumped, but I mean, it was just a pullback day, right? So we came into this area and we held this as support. This order block is holding as support, as we see. It gave a range right here at the end of the day. So we had this huge down move at 9:40, and pretty much from 9:40 to the rest of the day, we just ranged, okay? And this is where I didn't catch this move because I was thinking on Friday we were gonna get the pullback, right? But I wanted a specific fair value gap to get hit, okay? And this is where, I could be, like this also could have been like a good trade, right? And like obvious, but at the same time, I wanted this fair value gap filled. So I wanted price to come into this fair value gap right here, right? And so previously, because I actually deleted it. We had an area of resistance at this 567.65 area. Okay. I deleted all the drawings on here so I can remark out my areas. I just like to do that sometimes. Sometimes I have too much lines, and so I just delete them all and remark them out. Okay. So I did have this area marked. If you want to, fact check me, you can go back into my previous videos. Like Thursday video, and you'll see the lines that I already had marked. So I had this 567 level marked, right? And all we did was just pump up a little bit to start the day and test the bottom of this and test this resistance before knocking it down, right? That's just very key, right? But what did I want to see? I wanted to see price do this. I wanted to see price pump up, and in my 5 minute pump through this in my 1 minute it would have been solid candles, right? Because remember, in the 1 minute you have five of these candles, right? Sorry about good people. So remember, in my 1 minute it would be 5 candles for my 5 minute time frame, right? And so it would be 5 solid candles, right? And look at this. We have a fair value gap right here that we could sweep this little retracement and touch again. So that's what I wanted to see. We did pull into this fair value gap, which I seen, of course, but I wanted my 1 minute to break this resistance, not hold up. Excuse me. I wanted to see it break this resistance, not hold up, and give a wick in my 5 minute. But in my 1 minute, it would have been solid candles, and it would have wicked it before breaking back down, giving a change of character, and then giving this, pullback for the whole day, the downtrend. So this is what I wanted to see. This is what we had happen, right? Obviously, we pumped up, then we gave a change of character. We pumped up, then gave a change of character, gave a pullback into like this order block right here in my 1 minute, and before breaking down. Like, that is just textbook, okay? But I wanted to see that. I wanted to see exactly what I just told you guys. In my 5 minute, I wanted to see a couple candles break up, and then a big candle break through this resistance, give a wick. So it would have been a candle breaking through this resistance, but a strong wick would have been sold down, right? And then I wanted to see some type of reversal using this fair value gap, because it's liquidity. I wanted to use this fair value gap to break back down. So that's what I wanted to see. That's why I didn't trade on Friday. And so I seen all of this happening, I seen price pull up because, we have a fair value gap right here. Oh, man. Because we have a fair value gap right here. We have a fair value gap right there. We have a fair value gap right here. There's multiple fair value gaps in this downtrend because it's such a big downtrend, right? But I wanted to see the highest fair value gap taken, right? Because a lot of times it will do that. A lot of times it will pump and get to the highest fair value gap it can. But what did it do? It used this resistance, which used it as support, which was support. Well, it was resistance. Then we turned it into support. We broke through the support, and we used it back as resistance. But I wanted to see us pump through it, use it as resistance again, and give us that strong wick down from this fair value gap. That's what I wanted to see. But instead, it just used the bottom of this resistance as resistance and use this fair value gap instead of using our top one, okay? And why is that? What I was looking for was good, right? But what happened was actually good was like an kind of like an obvious thing, is because a lot of times price will retreat to the highest fair value gap it can. But if it's a range, like how this was rangy, like a little range, equal highs, equal lows, like a range. You see this box right here? This is all a range. Let me delete this one just so it's not. A lot of times you won't see price retrace back into the range. Why? Because it takes a lot of momentum and a lot of power just to break out of a range. Because remember, a range is equal highs, equal lows. So it's basically agreement of price, right? So it's like I'll buy it at this price, I'll sell it at this price. I'll buy it up to here, I'll sell it down here. I'll buy it up to here, I'll sell it down here. I'll buy it up to here, I'll sell it down here. You get what I'm saying? So it takes a lot of seller momentum just to break through the price downward. I mean, break through the range downward, or a lot of buyer momentum to break through it upward, okay? And so that's why a lot of times you won't see price retrace into the fair value gap that's in the range. This fair value gap right here, that's in the range, a lot of times you won't see price retrace to it because it took so much power to break out of that range, and you won't a lot of times come back into it. Excuse me. That's why you will use the bottom of this range to act as resistance, right? Because it was support, and you'll use it as resistance, and you'll tap the fair value gap right underneath it. And I've won a trade, or I've won previous trades doing this, like doing this exact thing, having a range, seeing us break through it, and then when we get the pullback to the bottom of the range into the fair value gap, you take the short position, or if it happens on the upward position where you break out upwards, if you break out upwards out of that range, you will pull back and you'll tap the fair value gap on top of the range before pumping back up, okay? And I've showed y'all previous trades of me winning trades like that, okay? But so that's why this is like really textbook, okay? But I did want to see us pull back into this fair value gap right here. But I mean, exactly what I just explained. It just used the bottom of this range as resistance, okay? So that is where that's on me. But at the same time, we could have seen that retracement to this fair value gap. But at the same time, just like I explained, it takes a lot of power to break out of it to the downside or to the upside, but it takes a lot of momentum and power to break out of it. And so that's why a lot of times you won't see us retreat into it, okay? So this is like, could be very much on me. Is very much on me, okay? But that's why I didn't take the trade, because I wanted to see us pull into this fair value gap. We didn't. We used the bottom of the range fair value gap, and we broke downward. And now we held support at this order block, as we can see, right? This order block right here. And we also have a support right here, which was resistance and support at 562.45. So why is that setting us up good? Because we had that pump, we had the pullback, we're at this order block, at the support, at near the support area, and now where are we? Monday, we are going to have a winning trade, my good people. We are going to start Monday off, right? Okay, my good people. I'm letting you know right now. We are ready. We are ready and locked in, okay? So as we see this range, so now we are looking at the same thing. So if Monday, we want to start out and we want to chop, okay, let it chop, let it chop, let it chop. We're in a range. Let it chop. Let it do its thing. But once we break out, we're going to have to break out with a lot of momentum, okay? We're going to need a lot of momentum to break out of it, because it takes a lot of power to break out of a range. Why? Because it's equal highs and equal lows, just like I explained, okay? And you're fighting, saying, I'll buy it at this price, I'm selling it down. I'll buy it back at this price, up to this price, we're selling it back down. Basically saying, I don't want it past this price, but I don't want it lower than this price. I don't want it past this price, but I don't want it lower than this price. You see what I'm saying? So when we break out with higher momentum, we're going to leave fair value gaps because it takes so much momentum. So when we create these fair value gaps, we are going to see a pullback to potentially the top of this range and a fair value gap before breaking through. And then we can break through this range, break back through this resistance and support this range, right? We can break back through this range and try to itch back up to that 570 area. And also, remember what I told you guys on Thursday when we were pumping? Remember when we got close to pumping through this 570? I was like, price can maybe break through this 570, but I was like, this is a big area. You know what I'm saying? This is a big area of resistance. Remember I said that, and we didn't pump through it because remember I was making the video when we were like right around here, and then we started to see these candles pull up. If you guys don't believe me, please go to my Thursday video, okay? The thumbnail is white and it says trust your edge, okay? And remember, we were getting this during the video. I was talking, I was like, ooh, we're getting close to that resistance. I was like, we could pump up, or it could just be a fake out of the range. I literally said that. And what was it? Just a fake out of the range, and came right back down, okay? Because remember, I was telling you guys, to pump through here and get to this 575 area, we're gonna need really good news. Like, we already had some really good news, but we're gonna need the tariffs with China like worked out or deal in place. We're gonna need something like pretty big, right? Because we're getting close to these highs again. Remember, I was showing you all this, my beautiful people. I was showing you all of this. We're at 575 already, so we're 10% down. We're 8% down. We caught up to 568, 569. So we're only 7% down from Thursday high of the all-time highs. So it's like we're out of correction range already, and we're like close, only down 7%. So we're like all the way, like pretty much not all the way back, but we're up there, okay? And so that's why it's gonna take a lot, because remember, this whole thing is tariff induced, and we were due for a pullback of the whole market in general. And so that's why these are like big levels to really break through, okay? And so yeah, so on Monday, same thing. We're gonna need a lot of power. I'm just gonna explain it again. We're gonna need a lot of power to break out of here. So we want to start off ranging Monday. Do your thing, and I'm gonna be looking. If we break out of the range to the downside, well, we're at the support as well, so we could pull back into a fair value gap at this support at the bottom of this range, and that will be like that will be literally the stars aligning of a trade. Okay, we will literally see that, and then we could oh man, what happened? So we could see that, and then we could potentially see more lows too. And then our next one is, I think we honestly have like a 558 level. I'll mark out more levels, but I just wanted to kind of get, because I had a lot of lines. Okay, yeah, so this right here, this 558 can be an area of support, as we see, support. But I have this 556 one because this is like a big, resistance. Then when we finally broke through, we use that support. So, I mean, 558 as well, we can mark out. Yeah, we have to mark out that 558 because we have to be wary of these support levels. Because if it breaks through, I don't want to be like, oh, okay, it could fall all the way down to 556, and then at 558, I get a change of character, and I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? So you just want to be wary of, you want to know where your support areas are at. Not because they're extra important, no, because these are psychological levels where price has stopped and buyers have stepped in, right? And so these psychological levels, they tend to hold up because previous buyers or previous sellers like me and you and millions of other traders see that, okay, these are where buyers are stepping in. So these are where we've previously stepped in at. And so these are psychological levels that we could potentially step back in at. You see what I'm saying? And so nothing is, and that goes into like every strategy is, no strategy is just like concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to do this. No, everything is psychological. You see what I'm saying? Fair value gaps get reactions off of because they're psychological. The market tends to come towards liquidity, like these areas of unfilled orders, but over just years and millions of years, or not millions of years, but hundreds of years of the market, traders tend to hop in at these fair value gaps, at these order blocks, at these support and resistance lines, because over time these things have happened, and now we psychologically have these levels in. You know what I'm saying? Psychologically, we hold these areas with significance. You see what I'm saying? So when I see a fair value gap, just like hundreds of other traders, millions of other traders see a fair value gap and they hop in for the sell or they hop in. You know what I'm saying? And so that's all a strategy is really. It's the market is a combination of millions and millions and billions of people buying and or placing orders. You know, that's the better word to say it. Placing orders. The market is just a combination of billions of people placing orders. That's all this is. It's just billions and billions of people and millions of people placing buy orders and sell orders, okay? You know, it just kind of rambled, but I hope you get what I'm saying, okay? And so yes, we could see is if we want to break down to the downside, we would have the support bottom of this range. If we want to break through it, we would have to break through with a lot of momentum with fair value gaps, and we will touch that fair value gap and keep on going down. And we'll write it down, okay? But I see us going up. I see us having an up move. Why? Because we already had that up move. We have a lot of good news coming out tomorrow, which I'm gonna go over with. And then we had our pullback to our order block. And since we have a lot of good news, I can see us tomorrow, you know, wanting to continue chop a little bit before breaking through with higher momentum, giving a test, giving us a pullback to our fair value gap and top of this range, holding this top of this range as support before breaking through this 567, and we could potentially try to itch up to this 570 level, okay? Or we can just break up past 567 and kind of range through here, through this 570 and 567 level for more good data coming throughout the week, which we'll go over, okay? So that is the SPY. I want to bring y'all into the QQQs real quick. QQQs, if you are on the upside, we kind of had the same thing. We broke down, not to an order block, but we did pull back down into a fair value gap, and that's where we got this reaction where we started ranging, okay? So if we want to break through this range, if we want to break through this range, use this top of this range as support and a fair value gap, and we can itch towards this. Well, this will be an area of resistance right here, this 492 level. I gotta get a pretty number. You know that. You know that, my beautiful people. I gotta get a pretty number with it. You know what I'm saying? We can use the top of this as resistance, but we have this 493 level as big resistance. Okay, so this 493 level is like the SPY's 575 level. That's the big resistance. Okay, why? Because that is at the top of the whole down move that started the 20% drop. Okay, so the 493 level along with the 575 level and the SPY and QQQ are the top areas of resistance. Why? Because they are the start of them whole 20% down moves. Okay, that's why those are big resistance levels. So same thing like the SPY, but in the QQQ we have this rangy area. So we break through, we can see the pullback to the fair value gap and top of this range, using it as support to want to pump up to these 492 level. Or if we want to break out of it to the downside, it would just be the same thing but opposite. I could see us pulling back using the bottom of this range as resistance before trying to break back down, and we could, because we'll fall to this 484 support level, we could get a hold up in range, or we can get a another reversal and want to pump back up and, you know, like try to range back through here. You know what I'm saying? You know, kind of like a little rangy day, because we have supports and resistance close. You know what I'm saying? Or we can want to break through, pull back to this support. So this is where we could have, okay, I got it lined up. We could break through. When we break through, we can use this support as our pullback, okay? So hear me closely. We can break through this range, because remember, we're going to need huge momentum and a lot of sellers if we want to break through the downside. For the QQQ's range, we're going to need a lot of momentum. If we break through, we will break through and we will use this 484 as support to give us a pullback to this to the top of the bottom of this range, fair value gap. Remember, we'll have a fair value gap right here, and use the bottom of this range as resistance before breaking back through the support. And we could use this support as resistance, and we could try to itch back down to the 480 level and range a little bit, because I don't see us dropping even further down tomorrow. But that's if we were on the downside. And remember, if we were on the upside, I could see us breaking up using the top of this range as support and itching to the 492 level, okay? And so let's go over the data we have coming tomorrow. So tomorrow, we don't have too much data, but throughout the week, we have a lot of good data, okay? So tomorrow, we don't really have much. 3-month bill auction, 6-month bill auction, monthly budget statement. Not too much importance. Do we have unemployment? Okay, no, not too much importance right there. But on Tuesday is where we start to get interesting. So, the hour before the market starts on Tuesday, we'll have core inflation rate month on month, core inflation rate year after year, inflation rate month on month, inflation rate year after year, overall CPI. And that is very big. CPI is core producer inflation, okay? Core producer inflation. Let's go to it. So be consumer price index. Yeah, I was way off. Increased consumer price index. Yeah, I was way off. I knew it had something to do with the inflation from the people, okay? But my name was just way off. Consumer price index, so it's just how much we're consuming, okay, and how much we're buying throughout the markets, okay, not the SPY markets and stuff, but grocery stores and just spending in total, okay. And then Wednesday is whenever it gets interesting as well. Ooh, excuse me, my good people. Sorry, not Wednesday. Wednesday we have a little bit crude oil, stocks change, all that, all that could probably be important. Mortgage market index, and stuff like that, which can be pretty important. But Thursday, we start to get really, is it Thursday? Okay, yeah, it's Thursday. Thursday is where we are going to have a big one. Hour before the market, PPI, what is that? Producer price inflation. So that's where we're going to see if these tariffs, hopefully these tariffs are getting worked out, but that's where we're going to start to see are these companies starting to pick up prices, because of the tariffs, okay? So we're going to see, and that's going to be big for the market. That's what I was saying in the beginning, where we could see an up move through the half of the week, and we could see a fall through the back half of the week, okay? But if that's good, we could continue pumping throughout this week, okay? So we have producer price inflation month on month, retail sales month on month, core PPI month on month, initial jobless claim, retail sales, core PPI year after year, continuing jobless claims 4-week average, more PPI, food, energy, and trade. So we have a lot of. Thursday is going to be a busy one, okay? Thursday, just know this week is going to be a busy one, okay? This week is going to be a busy one. And so this is where Monday we're going to have to capitalize, right? Because on Wednesdays, this whole week we're going to capitalize. But Monday we really want to capitalize, because Monday is going to be like the most clear day, okay? Because we have some good news coming out. Should be good news coming out. But we don't have much data, right? And so we got our pullback. Monday we have some good news that should be coming out. So Monday should be like our most clear day to trade and really capitalize off the price action, because on the Tuesday, Thursday, and I don't know what's happening on Friday, but the Tuesday and Thursday we could have a lot of volatility with jumping up, flying down and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So on Monday, that's what I'm saying. We really got to execute, because we could have a really clear price action day, okay? And so Monday, what else do we have coming out on Monday? So Monday we said, so remember on Thursday I told you guys that Trump had said that they were going to have meetings with China on Saturday, okay? Which is why we had that pump in the market. They did have a meeting on Saturday, and then they said that they were going to continue talks on Sunday. So now news is coming out. It says U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said on Sunday that substantial progress has been made in the trade talks between the United States and China. The discussions aimed at diffusing the ongoing trade war between the two countries were held in Geneva and involved in Bessent's team, that of Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng. Bessent said that more details about the progress would be provided on Monday. Jameson Greer, the U.S. Trade Representative, who was also present at the discussion, said that the differences between the two nations were not as significant as previously assumed. So, they said on Saturday, news that came out on Saturday, that they had really good talks. A lot of deals being put on the table, a lot of things being worked, but just really good talks. And then Jameson Greer, Trade Representative, is saying that the differences that was being circulated, like they hated each other and they just were having bad talks. He said that the differences between the two nations were not as significant as previously assumed, and Bessent said more details about the progress would be provided on Monday. So they didn't say the trade deal is worked out, but they're saying basically good news is happening, and they're saying more progress would be provided on Monday. So that's what I'm saying. On Monday we could have some good news that can pump us. But if the progress, I don't think they would come out with bad progress. I don't think they would come out with that to want to say it publicly. It kind of leaks through the news. The White House doesn't usually come out and just be like, oh, we just had horrible talks with China, because they know that would just tank the market. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where tomorrow we could have some good news to give us that pump. So we are going to be ready for it, my beautiful people. So that is pretty much it. We're very excited coming into this new week. Of course, we're always excited, but we are extra excited. Why are we extra excited? Because we are ready to make some money, okay? And so that is it for you guys. Man, that is it for you, my good people. I hope I provided some good info for you guys. I know this is a pretty long video, 32. It's normal, every time I try to create a short video for you guys, it always comes out pretty long. But I just try to get out a lot of information for you guys. Remember, I love every single one of you guys who were with me. Thank you for all the likes, the comments, the subscribes. Thank you for all the info, all the comments you guys tell me. And like the people who were like, hey, you should do this, like go to futures or try this out. Like, I appreciate all of it, because it just shows that all you guys care enough to comment and care enough to see me win. You know what I'm saying? And really, that's all I want to do, is to see y'all win. And that's why I provide you guys with these daily infos and showing up to show you my trades, show you where I went wrong, show you where I went right, show you what I'm learning, so I can help you guys as well as I'm helping myself, okay? Remember, I love every single one of y'all who are with me on the journey. Remember for you guys to study so you know what you're looking at in the market, so you're not gambling. Remember, we're not going to be right 100% of the time, but when we know what we're looking at, when we know what the market should do, when we know these levels, we are not gambling. We are taking educated trades based on years and years of hundreds of years of market data. When we know this data and what price should do, and these liquidity sweeps and these ranges, these supports, these resistance, these fair value gaps, these order blocks, and on, when we know these confluences, we could take educated trades, not just 50-50 gambles, okay? That's why we have a strategy, because our strategy gives us an edge over the market, okay? That gives us a 70-30 chance, a 60-40 chance. But we're not going to win 100% of the time, but our strategies are there so we can win more than we lose, okay? And that's why we have a risk management, so we can win more. When we win more than whenever we lose, okay? So when we win, we want to make $100. When we lose, we want to lose $50, $40, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So ultimately, we're still up throughout the weeks and throughout the months, okay? And I forgot to tell you guys, on the week, I was down $60. I lost 96. I made 18. So up 30, minus 96. So overall in the week, I'm minus $60. Not bad. We're coming into the new week ready. We're gonna make some. I could see us making some big money this week. Stay with me, guys. Remember, this is a journey, and there's so much more to come for you guys. I love every single one of you guys with me, all right? And remember, guys, stay persistent, passionate. Make sure y'all get paid, all right? Peace.